Perks is playing really well. Like he's playing the style that I know he wants to play. Like he's really aggressive, and he has Trick as a jungler that's like he's maybe one of the smartest jungler in Europe, one of the best at least, and like it gives him a lot of space. I feel like to play the way that Perks wants, and he's obviously a good mechanical player.
And we're about to watch these two mid laners do a battle. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, settling in on stage for our final match of the day. It is the Splyce versus G2 Esports. It is apparently opposite day here in the European LCS, so I'm just going to start this one. Who do you think is going to win?
Who did you pick? Because you've been wrong like every single time.
Okay, I said G2 are going to win this one.
Splyce is going to win it then.
Right, and how do you figure that?
Well, they're just going to listen to Yamato and he'll be like, visualize the rift. Close your eyes and breathe. And I can't do that because my voice suits up because I actually never went through puberty. And that's how they're going to win this game.
All right, I'm going to save you now. Let's take a look at the roster rundown for a team that is now hoping to secure 7th place. They need a win to stay alive. It is Splyce, Wonderwear in the top lane, Trashy in the jungle, Senkux the mid lane, Kobe, Nisbet, and the man that Crepo so horribly tried to impersonate, Yamato Cannon.
And as they visualize the rift, look at that guy here. Fierce, strong, preparing for their opponents. And their opponents obviously are G2 Esports. Top lane still is Kikis, and the jungle Trick. Mid lane Perks, fantastic player overall. Emperor and Hybrid on the bot lane, and then Coach is still Youngbuck.
Yeah, well, let's find out how Elements, rather Splyce, handle themselves because of the fact that Elements picked up an upset win. Looking at these two teams, though, it's the last time they're going to play this split. It's a tale of opposites. One challenger team has a fairy tale ending with G2 this close to a top 2 place, and the other's a horror story where Splyce are now maybe going to be going to the promotion tournament. What's your take on these two former challenger squads?
I mean, G2 just surprised, really. A lot of people came in like, yeah, you know, G2, they just practiced a lot before the weeks. They're playing mindless aggression. Surely this will not last. Kikis is a one-trick tank player, and turns out Kikis can play multiple things. G2's second half of the split was actually even better than the first half, and they're becoming almost consistent.
Yeah, if you look at the goal differences there throughout the spring split, really fantastic numbers. And in 6 out of the last 6 games, G2 have had a lead at 15 minutes. It actually goes even further than that. In 12 out of the last 13 games, G2 have had a lead at 15 minutes in game. Splyce, on the other hand, is a completely different story. They're significantly struggling. Down, on average, 700 and then 2,000 between the 10 and 20 marks. But Splyce have had positive growth, albeit it has been slow.
No, they're finally really, later in the split at least, the first few weeks they weren't really growing, but then they started identifying, hey, Wonderwear is getting an insane amount of farm on the side lane. Let's see if we can use that. And hey, like Yamato understands macro, let's perfect our lane swaps. Splyce have been looking better in both regards. Sometimes putting Senkux, who is a carry-oriented player, on utility champions just to fit their team play.
Yeah.
You know, taking a hit for himself, but then towards the progression of the team, and Splyce have improved. But against this almost mindless aggression that turns out to be calculated anyways of G2 Esports, it is incredibly rough.
We'll see how mindless it is once we get into game. No
Instant
real
combat.
Surprise to see Hybrid not have access to Braum. Very quick from these teams. Rammus, Lulu, Nidalee, Poppy is still available.
So if you're new to these teams, you don't give Nidalee to Trick, but apparently you don't give it to Trashy either. G2 just really respect the value of that Nidalee pick overall. You have to ban Braum at this point against Hybrid, especially if you're blue side. Corki's left open, which I think almost has to be a lock-in, because if you give it to Perks, he gets such a easy laning phase with pressure, and he really makes great use of his package. Need to see if Senkux has the same package handling capabilities.
We'll find out as very quick pick and ban. Both teams not surprised by what is happening.
Poppy Graves is the answer here. Usually you would expect Poppy Gragas, but Trick's style really is these aggressive junglers that have a really sustained clear that can then start counter jungling. So Graves is kind of more up his alley than a Gragas, I feel.
Crepo, in the 3 games that Trick has played Graves, do you know how many times he's died?
No.
He's died once, Crepo. And he's managed to secure 14 kills and 18 assists.
You have really a fantastic memory.
I know, just picture photo, no?
Photogenic memory?
Thank you, there we go.
It's actually not photogenic.
I don't.
Because you're definitely not photogenic.
No. Oh, I'm just, my brain is fried after the results. The Gragas is locked in by Trashy. Lucian to follow it up. Splyce are going to get themselves this poke siege style, maybe. Hybrid's going to get the Bard and Emperor on Sivir, so still very quick.
Yeah, they just don't want to give much information away. Like, you get one jungler, we will too. It's not about rushing picks at this point anymore. It's about hiding as much as you can. Lucian, just strong pick here for Kobe. But laning Lucian into Bard Sivir is rough because you have to challenge the wave, and if then a range support comes out, this is a very fun 2v2 to watch because both sides can win it. Thresh is a good pick into Bard, one of the better laning picks into him. So I really hope we get standard lanes.
I really want to see how Emperor handles himself on Sivir. It's only the 4th AD carry that he's played this split. Lucian, Ezreal, and Kalista are the only champions he's played all 9 weeks long. Splyce are going to lock in their solo lane top and support. And it's going to be... I don't know. Nautilus is available if they wanted to go the tank route, but you don't really want Naughton to Poppy.
No. I mean, you can.
Trundle?
Just play the early game for the push. Just get triple pushing lanes if you play it well. Fiora's a pick there, you can do too. It just all depends on how you want to play. I like Fiora, honestly. But Poppy still has the early pressure on her. Fiora then pulls ahead for a little while, and then it's up to the Poppy to get QSS by level 16. That's kind of the condition you want to have, and then you outscale again.
What is the reply?
Moves, by the way.
What is the reply for G2?
Time takes down.
The drumline puts pressure on. It's up to Perks. LeBlanc is available. Bit tough into Corki, at least in the early levels.
I think you go for the LeBlanc though. I mean, Lissandra's up too, which is a Perks champion, but I think LeBlanc Corki is fine if Perks is the one playing LeBlanc. It's rough generally as a matchup though, but I feel it's skill.
Bird is the word. Bird is the word instead. So it's still going to be a little challenging maybe early. What do you make of this?
Oh.
It's a slightly interesting team comp from G2.
Yeah, I feel like they've picked a lot for lanes. Here, I feel like the late game Azir pick. Azir kind of fits into everything. That's the first thing I have to say. You can almost always pick it, but it's very hard to make him work. But if you use him right, he can always work. I wonder if Azir gets the push on Corki. That's something I'm not so sure about. Because the early trades, Corki can win if he lands False Bomb and then has Stellar procs with the E up. But Azir just has a really good repetitive push overall. He generally was the king of pushing mid lane overall.
Interesting pick and ban then. There are options for both sides. Interesting solo lane matchups, and I can't wait to see how they play out. The flags are lit on stage. G2 Esports are 1 victory away from holding sole control of first place. At the end of day 1 here in week 9, they are looking to get themselves a guaranteed bye into the semifinals, and a win here would do that for them, and at least one of the 2 seeds. But I want to see this as here. Uncomfortable
feeling. I don't know which comp I like more.
Oh, and an uncomfortable feeling on upset day.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right term.
Great disturbance in the force here. I do like, you know what?
I tell you what, Cripple, let me help
hard.
If you've got an uncomfortable feeling, let's ask the guys on Twitter to let us know what they think.
Let's
Hashtag SPYWin if you think Splyce will continue this trend, or
if you agree with Trevor and you will undoubtedly be wrong, hashtag G2.
Hey, listen, they've got Bard, so you've got to be split here.
Yeah, this is a 50-50.
Because you both want Bard to win and me to be wrong, but you can't...
If only.
You can't have both be realities.
You can't have your cake and eat it too, is what they say.
I just bought a cake when no one is around.
Turns out I don't like cake anyways. It's bad for the gains.
So, gentlemen and ladies.
Oh, we got the ultimate cheese here. This is the predict lane swap. When some guy goes into Lone Island here in the top lane. Ah, he's not there.
Oh, would have been so good.
Oh, there's Fiora.
Ward kill. Ward kill, ward kill. 1, 2. Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. Advantage G2.
That's more of a tennis clap. It's more of a tennis clap than a golf clap.
That's true. That's very, very true. We'll have to ask our producer to verify. We know he is a very avid tennis fan. I think...
Just don't ask him how Justin Hernandez is spelled.
I think Djokovic is his favorite player as well.
These are too many inside jokes that sadly the crowd will not get.
Sorry, people watching at home. Watch tennis, it's fun.
Tennis is fun.
Yep.
Belgians were actually really good at tennis.
Really?
For a while.
I didn't know
Females
that.
were.
Okay.
Justin Hernandez, Kim Klasters. Fantastic players.
South Africans were better at golf than tennis.
I see.
Just, you know,
I feel like we're really getting
some
of this context nailed down.
We are.
We are also seemingly getting a lane swap initiated here by G2. So Sivir Bard away from Lucian Thresh. I think it's smart. I think on equal skill, Lucian Thresh should win that lane. It's really it's a rough lane for Bard Sivir. Bard Sivir can go AFK push, but one play hook can just be an untimely demise here. Obviously, he's gonna give full XP to his AD carry here, right? Hybrid. No.
Okay, so Emperor and Hybrid share that one. Last hit does go to Emperor. First time on the Civ, he's played 8 games as Lucian, 4 on Ezreal, 4 on Kalista. So real big shift in the playstyle dynamic. Oh, here we go. Crowd likes that one. That poke is secured, but not a lot of synergy in skins because they could have both gone for that Snow Day.
I hate Snow Day Bard.
Why?
It's just the
Is it too
W
happy
triggers
for you?
me. Yeah, I don't like joy. You know me, Trevor. I only want misery.
We'll see how much misery is caused in this lane swap. G2 are earlier on the push, earlier to the tower, trashing on Wonderwear. Gonna be a little late to this bottom lane. We'll see just how much time G2 have bought for themselves, but it's really the next few minutes that we have to judge. So I think we're 2 lane swaps, 3 standard lanes today, just trying to keep track.
This is where you obviously start talking a little slower. You drag out your words so you can fill as much time without saying anything, because nothing really happens in the early stages of the lane swap. All we can really watch is the race for third HP. In that race right now, it is seemingly pretty equal. Both sides have not chosen to enter their jungle into the equation. They are power farming their way through, and will soon pick up a merry scuttle crab, likely.
All right, we'll see what the next stage is. Minion Wave dies, so G2 got it down to about 10% HP if we look down bottom. In actual fact, Splyce may be able to secure this tower maybe a few seconds before, not that it really matters. What does matter is the next step. And all the gold will be given to Wonderwear. How does he handle this next wave, Crepo?
So yeah, he's gonna catch it. If you don't know what catching means, obviously 6 minions on the side of G2 pushing towards his wave. Next wave will meet there sooner, so it will end up freezing. The second he sees Sivir on that ward in the lane that he has right there, it's probably the 3rd time I explained this today,
Yeah.
he will start pushing out. The reason he does not push out any sooner is because there is potentially a top laner coming out to catch that wave, and you don't want to hand farm over to the top laner. You do hand it over to the AD carry. So right now, Sivir passes the ward,
So,
so does Kabe.
Nisbet was smart. Kobe just walked straight over it.
Yeah, I mean, they both know the ward's there, and you have to reveal yourself. Both top laners will prompt to kill as many minions as they can before leaving. Then they base. They will join their compadres.
No, I like
Friends.
compadres.
Compadres.
Yeah, compadres works. There's actually somebody in the audience with a sombrero, so I think it's applicable.
Then that works. Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Any other
Yeah,
instance
for that
does not
person?
work?
For that person, yeah.
Yeah.
And we caught a brief glimpse there of Senkux into Perks. Still even CS. Perks with the Flash Cleanse versus Flash Exhaust for Senkux. Double Dorans into Sheen, so
Yep.
small itemization differences.
Both AD carries pick up Cull, obviously, to make gold efficient item here. Top laners will join their bottom lanes and push. If there's any champion you do want to break the mold with in this lane swap, though, is Bard, because a lot of this, these mirror plays are based around vision. Enemy does X, so we also do X across the map. If you then magical journey in an area where people don't expect you to get to, you can break the mold, but you have to be quick about it. The same thing will happen here. This wave will usually be bounced unless some team decides to push for tier 2. Generally, that is not the right choice. If you do this quick enough, you can put Herald up, and then you go for the mirror on the next tier 2, which then you will do slightly quicker. That's where we see deviations, where people actually defend the tower, because they know they will lose the mirror in a Herald race.
Now, if memory serves correctly, did G2 not make an adaptation on this next phase of the lane swap last week against Vitality, where they hid in a bush, waited for Vitality to push in lane, and then punished them by securing
Yeah,
first blood?
that's kind of, it's not even an adaptation, it's kind of a solution when you're behind in tempo. It's like we're so far behind that if we mirror, we kind of lose something extra down the line. So we really want to just kind of cheese almost. It's also a mistake if you don't ward that brush. But even with that play, things are equal, because that's just the lane swap. Here, Herald gets traded for Dragon here, so if G2 successfully defend and not mirror, they kind of pull ahead. This is what they opt for doing right now.
Backing off, Kikis remains in the bottom lane. 12 CS to the 14 of Wonderwear. Both players level 3. Perks and Senkux. That's basically as even as you can get in CS. A wave still in front of Senkux. And both players at level 6 at the same time.
So Splyce's play is completely locked right now. They have the Herald, they lost the Dragon, so they really need to push and make a massive wave on the bottom lane. Kobe and Nisbet by no means should freeze this wave. They should just stack it up and push it in. Then they should push mid with Corki Gragas pressure and rotate to the bottom lane to see if they can get a 4-man type of push there, potentially, or 3-man, and have Wonderwear be able to teleport in. Because in top lane right now, Emperor is there. So if Emperor is stuck in the top lane, they can become a 5v3 or a 5v4 dive in the bottom lane depending on how quickly Perks comes over. So that's the play that we have to watch for.
It's also going to be a little difficult pushing towards Perks or even trying to, because you see how quickly he shoved that wave in. If they want to try to rotate between lanes. As it stands though...
But you can push in, at least kill the wave right now, because Perks based, so Senkux has push advantage, and he can then clear the wave and rotate bot. So this play from Splyce could work. Wonderway can still choose if he teleports or not. We need to see if there's wave clear. Trick is level 6, so a QR plus maybe a Q from Kikis could be enough to clear this wave.
Doesn't look like there's a commit from Splyce though, so all of the build-up ends up just resulting in a rotation to the middle lane. There's support down bottom, so Perks, he's got the wave pushed in. There's a cannon minion as well, and just a threat of Trashy. Wow, Perks really aggressive.
Because Trashy's not level 6. That's the whole change to that play. Trashy was level 6 here. The momentum gained by Splyce could have netted them a dive and a turret in the mid lane.
Fortunately, it didn't work out that way. And Perks reading the situation perfectly. So just a little bit of damage traded onto that outer turret. As Trick, what is he doing? Oh, that was
Tried to
late.
steal the red buff. He knew it was still up. He knew Trashy was level 5.
Okay.
So he just went for the blind steal. He knew Trashy was on it too, because that was a logical decision. He just didn't have time to actually ward. And this buff coming in here doesn't flash with the lantern. Forces the teleport though.
It does. Instantly cancelled though by Kikis. So on the hunt blown from Emperor and teleport. So Wonderware is now in a teleport advantage in what is still somewhat of a skill matchup at this stage in the game between that Fiora and the Poppy. Let's see if he decides to go toe-to-toe at any point.
I mean, they won't farm, so if the farm happens to coincide in the same lane, sure they'll fight, but other than that, they just really want to pick the side lane with the most farm. G2 equalized, so they traded Dragon for Herald and didn't end up losing anything. Trick also pulled ahead in experience overall, had one camp more, so he was level 6 where Trashy wasn't. Kind of was a deciding factor for Trashy not being able to punish Perks in the mid lane. Overall, even game. Just keep your eyes on the top laners. They are the most crucial matchup right now.
Let's take a look at how G2 handle themselves. 9 minutes on the clock, still even with Splyce. The lane swap has not netted major advantages for G2, but they have had those small benefits. The level difference you've mentioned, the Dragon. Rift Herald will be up fairly soon, and in actual fact, Kikis and Wonderware they'll be meeting relatively soon. Kikis will have some support from Trick though, if he sticks around.
And Hybrid has to be careful here. So much that on that Bard. Yes, he has Portal, but he can get E-flashed on, knocked back, get hooked at any point. Lucio comes in with some really good burst. He can drop in a jiffy. This bit also running that Ignite, obviously not that useful later in the game.
It is if you want the kills. See the general head nod.
Oh yeah, you guys can see this. Yes, I'm nodding.
Thank you for the head nod. Crappo, 10 minutes in, and I mentioned this right at the beginning of the game, but G2 have actually had a gold lead in 12 of their last 14 games. They're now even with Splyce.
Again, that memory.
I know. On opposite day, where 3 of the 4 results have been surprises. Is this an early indication that surprise number 4 is on the way? Come on,
Surprise
putting you on the
number 4.
spot.
That sounds like you're getting like a 4th kid that you really don't expect and you can't really afford. I don't know. Let's wait until somebody actually dies. It's 0-0 right now. We've seen PvE. We'd have to see the qualities of the PvP aspect of the game. You know, first, it's like an exam that's split an oral and a written exam. Like we've seen part 1. Let's actually see them fight each other.
So
hopefully.
Okay, that was a slightly weird analogy you've lost me.
Yeah,
is it PvE?
It's 2-part. It's
okay,
2 parts. I don't care which one you call it.
Got it. Right, I'm on the same page now. Senkux, he had the package a little while ago, didn't make real good use of it. Keeper's Verdict comes out from Kikis just to boot the minions away.
The ultimate mind game. You think I'm going to hit the tower? I'm going to hit the champion away here? No, the minions go flying away, buying some time, which means G2 can push in on this inhib tower.
And they've got uncontested. There is support coming from Trashy and from Wonderware, but it's a 3v2 at best. Trick and Hybrid running out of minions. As
they already have 1 tower advantage, and they use that pressure on the next tower to then force Splyce being unable to trade, and then Kikis gets more farm time. I really like that ulti. It's very creative, because if you aim it at a carry, you kind of have a 50-50 chance that they dodge, but obviously minions walk straight and just knock them away.
It works out. So G2, they just jump 1,000 gold in the lead, just after I make that bold prediction.
That's the adaptation we're looking for in lane swaps now. 12 minutes in. What do you Poppy ulti the minions?
Poppy ulti the minions.
Perhaps we do need to change our lane swaps.
We'll find out if the trend sticks tomorrow when we're back, but for now, no real big changes. Fade Sheen Sork Shoes for Senkux, Nash's Tooth for Perks, tanky items getting tankier for Wonderwear and for Kikis as their bases are continuing to grow. And we're still just in this powering up phase until a team feels like they have been activated, itemization-wise. Gonna happy to be playing these side lanes and farm.
Late game team fights definitely go to the side of G2 though. As long as Sivir and Azir can set up a fight for a while, and Kite, they just do so much damage, and Poppy will just be the front line. This time there's no Trundle to steal the ultimate, to steal the resistance either. So I think for Splyce the win condition really is that Fiora beating Poppy hopefully later on, or just getting a quick like one shot on somebody. Gragas E-Flash or a hook, one of the carries.
Ooh. Senkux started that well, but took 2 autos from the Sand Soldier that ended up hurting him. And Emperor shoved this wave in. I feel like G2 have done a very good job at pushing to those those inner turrets rather. No real reply as Kikis has been there to catch the wave that's funneled to him by Splyce, and G2 take the second dragon.
Yeah, G2 are comfortable with scaling. They're now 2 dragons up to 0 at a very early point in the game due to the lane swap decisions that they made. Hybrid is safe because he has a portal. Overall, this game will likely be slow because I think it's very hard for Splyce to force an opening. If you look at their engage, what do they have? E-Flash from Gragas, or almost Hook Flash, Flash Hook. Because you can't actually walk up and hook anybody because they'll literally just walk away. So G2 is fine scaling. They have the scaling components both in terms of objectives and champions. And Splyce can't really engage, so we could see a very slow, methodical chokeout from G2 Esports.
And that would be quite impressive actually, because that stigma that G2 are kind of hot-headed, are maybe reckless in terms of their playstyle, is still kind of with the team, but they're really showing a good understanding of how to play the tempo.
They group for siege on mid against the Corki, which works for one wave. They need to send somebody down to the bottom lane though. Let's see if Kikis can hold this, otherwise this tower just get taken for free. They're looking to trade tower for Herald.
Alright, I don't know if they make Herald work, maybe. Keeper's Verdict, it will knock away the minions. The box is already put down, and Kikis should be able to survive. Cobby's deciding to chase forward. Support comes in from Trashy, in from behind. A good stun from Kikis. Body slam flash into the barrel. First blood for Trashy.
So yeah, G2, in their mind, they take Herald and they go for a big push in the top lane. What they should have done though is probably send Azir to the bottom lane, let the Sivir hold mid, and then 2-man defend that bottom lane tower against the dives, especially with a Azir ultimate. Right now, the hook easily lands on Kikis, who overextends. And they shouldn't be able to get anything here. Hybrid doesn't get the stun.
Good damage down onto both Hybrid as well as Senkux. And one of the benefits of these slower paced games, Crepo, is that I get whispered sweet nothings by our stats bender. Do you know that 14 games this split, First Blood has taken more than 12 minutes to secure?
I did actually.
Oh, fantastic.
I did not, actually.
Yeah, you completely killed my buzz there, dude.
What does it mean though? That's one of those stats,
it mean?
like, okay, now what?
It's just fun. It's just fun. Trashy picks up First Blood onto Kikis under the tower.
This macro mistake though, G2, like you have, in such a slow game, you have to be able to predict the enemy move there. Splyce, they make the correct decision. They see G2 have both their wave clear carries in the mid lane, Sivir and the Azir, and both of them take a left. They go towards the Herald. It's like, okay, I guess we'll take this tower in the bottom lane. Nobody's here. It's a Poppy. We are free to dive it. Easy hook there. Good hook by Nisbev. If that misses, suddenly the play is genius by G2. Because Poppy can stall.
Yeah, but it didn't. And of course, Trashy was able to
I like this. This is better than War Cheers.
make it all the way around. Emperor's going to continue to shove that wave in. Actually just funnels farm to Wonderwear, really. Titanic Hydra already completed. Trashy and Nisbet.
And he got 30 CS up on that now too.
Yeah,
Because,
that's a lot.
Oh, is it 30 though? It's more like 25.
I'll go with 30. I like rounding up.
You like rounding up?
Yep.
Same when they asked for my height.
It sounds more dramatic.
How tall are you? 6 feet? Give or take.
6 inches. I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain. All right. Tempered Fate is easily sidestepped. It was a longer distance. Trashy and Nisbet heard that one coming a mile away.
Well, we saw it too.
Yeah, Hybrid unable to connect to the target, so...
And this means Wonderwear just gets more time pushing in the side lanes. Siege comes out here, but there's plenty of wave clear from Splyce. They just need to be able to get to the wave early enough. Don't get hit by soldiers, whittle those minions down, and then when they enter, they can finish it. So
Wonderwear's average CSD at 20 minutes is 24. He's usually up. And this is just kind of a playstyle that Splyce have. They tend to funnel him a lot of farm. They've been doing it earlier than beginning of the split. But at what point does this become worrisome for the Poppy? Or is it... it's just a matter of time, really.
The good thing though is that you can no longer switch between Titanic and Ravenous. So the whole way the OS split push used to work is that you would buy time with Titanic early, and then later on you would switch it to Ravenous. You would just trade, get very low, like, oh, I'm almost gonna die. Oh, here's the minion wave, 2 hits and you're full HP again. So that was what you used to do. Alright, I guess this explanation is no longer relevant because apparently a ward is more exciting. I've taken really deep dives in my career, you know. The point where you get replaced by a still standing ward in the picture-in-picture.
Crap, I was listening. I really appreciated it.
And that is why Fiora doesn't win that matchup as quickly anymore.
That was
but she will still win.
A beautifully abridged version of the story.
Perhaps it's an indicator. Crepo, tighten that. Make it nice, short and punchy.
Oh, our observers sometimes have a little fun. Only sometimes.
We only allow so much fun.
Crepo, look at the minimap. It is...
Oh, no, I'm supposed to do that.
It is a Christmas tree when you look at all the lights. Tons of wards from both teams. A Valk Ford from Senkax gets Thunderlord's proc onto Emperor as well as their Gatling Cannon. I want to continue asking about the wards in a second. There's a few pings. There's support from G2 and Splyce are making their way up top. Body slam onto Trick. End of the line doesn't really do a lot, but relatively good deep vision, I feel, from both squads.
Yeah, because they're dividing the map up half and half here. They don't believe in fights. It's a neutral zone here.
I'm not quite sure. Look, everyone's gathering.
Posturing, it's the frenzy, you know. Eventually, you need blood to survive. That's what they're looking for.
All right, Brambleback is reset.
You're bringing Brambleback.
Lost vision for a second. Everyone goes on a magical journey into the Dragon Pit. They're going to decide to commit. G2 are sticking onto the objective, and Splyce, they're hungry for blood. The Dragon will get secured shortly, I feel, as G2 have bought enough time. Tempered Fate locks Trashy down, as Trick was able to secure the third Dragon of the game. Trick is forced to jump away. Grand Challenge is issued. It's not secured yet. Riposte comes out, and it's killed. Wonderware gets the heal. They've traded 1 for 1 as Trick and Nisbet are down. Perks is finally joining the fight from the delay. The Boomerang comes out, and the Cosmic Binding connects with no one. Perk still has Flash available and the Slide and Glide. He's gone over the wall defensively, and G2, they want the tower instead.
Yeah, it was all ruse, the Dragon. Rotation with the portal for the tower. A new tower rises. Take its place. I think Kobe played that fight phenomenally. Really good flash there at the end. G2 had the better setup. I think they need more help. Hang on, Senkax.
He's not going to go down yet, but this tower just might. Trashy fancies himself a chance. Tower drops. Steadfast Presence interrupts everything, but Kikis will get taken down. Kill will be secured here by Kobe and Red Buff. So, what was it? 2 kills.
Hang on, it's more.
A Dragon. Oh, we're not done yet. Wonderway teleported in for this one. He's taken down Emperor. Cosmic Binding will root him in place, but...
I think Splyce is playing the fights better, but G2 is playing the approach better. On that Dragon, though, Trick was left alone way too long. His team should have helped him finish the Dragon and then get the hell out of dodge with the portal to disengage, because Splyce ended up doing better in that fight overall, trading their support for the enemy jungler. Then obviously the rotation comes in, but G2 lingered too long, losing on the member, and now, more importantly, they lose control of their jungle.
Tower down, number 4 secured by Splyce. Blue buff secured as well. G2 are going to be very happy they got that third Dragon, because Aspect is now about 11 minutes away.
Let's watch that again. So, like, look at Trick. It's like, guys, anybody here?
Guys.
Oh, is this connection working? And then, yeah, he just gets left alone. Probably gets zoned here. Perks gets zoned too. Probably will step into the fight. Let's watch how good that flash actually is. Good casket there from Trashy to finish that kill off. Doesn't matter because we're fighting.
We are fighting indeed. Trick has gone golden and dropped by Wonderware. Kikis actually threw out the hammer, but it simply wasn't enough. And an easy kill. Didn't quite see the build up. We can argue maybe for blue buff.
I guess we'll see it again soon.
Maybe. We might just see, depending on...
Only there was a moment or a way to go back in time.
Oh, I'm not quite sure we have the technology. But Kobe's got the blue buff. I'm going to assume the fact they're hovering over it. That's why. I think I'm going to assume.
And just good deep vision here. That was a trade-off. They lost the turret, but they got enemy control, or controlling the enemy jungle top right. That means they could comfortably play on the left side with full information on where the members from G2 were. It must have been a failed engage almost. Hybrid used Tempered Fate. That wall goes down.
It does indeed, Crepo. And at 22 minutes, Splyce have got themselves a small lead. Both of these teams are fighting to hold on to a position. Splyce want to get closer to 7th, and G2 wants sole control of first.
3 dragons though, and you see how hard it is for Splyce to not actually... If G2 kite, then they win those fights super hard. Right now though, they're locking into a position where they can't actually kite, which is doing Baron, and this is risky. Splyce like this because it's going too slow still right now.
On the hunt, boxes come out. Wonderwear is somewhat soloed away from the rest of his team. He riposts damage, but it's Trick that gets the kill. A magical journey delivers G2 closer to Splyce. And look at the Tempered Fate cooldown. Getting closer to being available.
I'm looking at it, Trevor, but I'm also looking at Wonderwear going in way too far for no reason whatsoever. Just wait for your team to take the aggro. You're playing as a Silver Comp. The goal is to isolate targets. Right now, Perks is looking for a good Chirima shuffle.
The slide and glide and delivers Kobe into the waiting hands of G2.
And then the Poppy W on top of the lantern, obviously, you shall not pass. You fall down, and G2 using Baron here to bait in Splyce. Splyce take the wrong decisions. That's exactly what G2 Esports was hoping for.
Yeah, Perks playing a little bit of Tokyo Drift there as he sets one up. And everyone takes a magical journey to safety.
They actually have the ultimate Summoner's Drift comp, because not only do they have the Azir, but once you get 5 chimes on Bard and you get that nice little noise, you go turbo speed too. You have the portals, so a lot of creative movement here.
I certainly hope they do something like that.
We need a race car skin. Get on it, team.
Yeah,
Champion.
that would be pretty epic.
Maybe Yorick. Didn't have any skins, people were feeling sad. Race car Yorick would make people happy.
Yeah, but how would you use a shovel to build a race car or work on a race
I
car?
don't know, there has to be some Flintstones reference in there.
I guess it doesn't have to be a shovel, right? I guess if it's a skin, you could change to a wrench or whatever.
He can have like a little remote control.
Oh, that's a clever idea. I like that. Sometimes you just gotta let them have
I
their
love
fun.
that the crowd cheers for my ideas. Thank you for the support.
That was a good cheer. Remote control Yorick, control car Yorick. Kickers took a big chunk of damage from Wonderwear. Grand Challenge seems like it was issued as well. So Wonderwear backed away from that, opting into safety rather than fighting in no vision. And G2, they've now got control thanks to a series of kills based around the Baron buff.
All these disappointed fans that had their team's favorites lose are now like derailing into absolute sadness and madness. Sanity. That's why they're starting cheering for Wards.
Well, 25 seconds until the next dragon spawns.
What do you do when 2 wards go down at the same time? I wonder.
Cheer louder. Crepo, G2, they're calling Splyce's bluff. If Splyce go dragon, G2 go inhibitor. We know they put a lot of damage onto that top inhib turret a while ago though, so let's see. Still about 60%.
That is traditionally how you get people off the dragon pit. You don't walk in and say like, leave, please. No. You walk in the middle and it's like, do you really want that dragon? Is it worth your inhibitor? No. They will path to the inhibitor. Then you cut them off and go back to the dragons and like, haha, fooled you.
Yes. You look at that combo, Graves, Azir, Sivir, they are going to deconstruct towers incredibly quickly. Senkax is coming in from behind. Emperor's Divide is already placed down. Perks is going to use that to peel. Trashy almost walks into it. Inhibitor turret gets chunked very, very low. 20% HP. Dragon is up, and G2 have given up positioning for it.
Giving up positioning. Baron is still alive though. They could just start it. They need to start the Baron here just to tell Splyce here, when you want to go for Dragon here, it's probably not a good idea, so just keep threatening that, hoping Splyce face check, because there's no vision right now. They see Hybrid. They might see Hybrid basing here on a little ward. Anyways, Dragon gets stalled here. If Hybrid can get in time and ulti the Dragon, maybe they can buy enough time. But it looks like Emperor really likes his crouch, so probably not going to happen.
The buff picked up by Senkax. Nobody from G2 is going to be able to respond here. So Dragon number 1 goes to Splyce at 26 minutes. And more importantly, it delays aspect.
Yeah, delays aspect. They still have the base though, so that means vision control goes to G2. You can set up again. Emperor hasn't base though. Sitting on a lot of gold probably. 1.3k, not that much. Still fight. Ooh. Or that goes down. Instant Baron gets started here. Just G2 is just saying like, you guys are probably half of your team is in base. We can just start this right away.
They certainly are. Keeper's Verdict actually finds nobody. That could be big.
Why would you want to do that if you're not finishing the Baron overall? So Kikis probably had the idea of knocking away the jungler and finishing the Baron. G2 as a team overall wanted to disengage.
Pressure is building. Tension is continuing to grow, and as these Baron baits play out, if G2 overstay their welcome, if G2 mistime a call, they give Splyce the opportunity to regain control in this matchup.
Yeah. More importantly, you just have to remember, when G2 get the setup and kite, Sivir Azir will win. When we get a flank, or engage, or hope, any of these carries exposed, that's when Splyce have a win condition. If not, they need to win the 1v1 matchup with Fiora versus Poppy. But Poppy has finished the QSS, and there's no Ravenous to really whack away on his trades and then lifesteal.
There is not. Down bottom, Kikis and Wonderware are in trouble. We're so busy looking at wards that Wonderware gets a good stun down. Kikis is dropped. Wonderware just straight up outplays him, flash for flash, and through the QSS.
Yeah, that Black Cleaver just dealing so much damage. Kikis thinking he would live, but he only has one really big armor item here.
That's huge. Splyce have set up vision around Baron, Crepo. And they're going to play the Baron baits at some point. It's so hard.
I just want to ask the crowd what their favorite brand of ice cream is, because isn't like all A? Like I think maybe it's in Belgium.
I thought it was like a face cream.
Oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe I've been doing it wrong my entire life.
Dude, you shouldn't be eating face cream.
The first thing in Google that pops up is Ole Ice Cream South Africa, so maybe you shouldn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah? It's Ola.
Ola, okay.
That's the one in Belgium.
Right.
How do we know that?
Did you know that
I did not.
Germans as a people are addicted to ice cream? I have a very, very big theory. Oh, it's the owl. It's Kevin Owl. He won the name votes on Challenger.
Tell me more, Trevor. Germans are addicted to ice cream.
Yes, I have this very serious theory.
It's a theory.
It is pretty well documented with the 10 German people I've spoken to about it.
Nice sample size.
And they all know exactly where every ice cream store is in their hometowns and in their current town. There are advert breaks in the middle of movies, like when they have an intermission, they come out and they sell you ice cream. Legitimately, I will expand on this theory in a longer vlog one day. But for now, the Baron bait is on. And it is G2 that somehow have regained some vision control. Splyce, despite killing Kickers, didn't do anything but buy time.
Yeah, in this game right now with these compositions, do you know what I would like to see, Trevor?
Tell me.
Ice cream. I'm really hungry right now. Didn't you get me any food in between the games?
That's because you're not happy about the ward cheers.
Yeah. Hang on here. Trashy base. We can see a Baron rush here. Emperor's Divide could divide the enemies.
Yeah.
Tempered Fate can temper the Fate too.
Teleport being used by Kickers. He's arriving in. Wonderware's got his available. Decides to teleport as well, but it's going to be far away. He's coming from blue buff. Baron has been absolutely rushed. Tempest Fate locks down Senkex and Nisbet, and they have been knocked all the way backwards. Hybrid takes a ride on a magical journey, lands in Wonderware's waiting hands. Despite the fact that Perksy is down, Cobby's trying to carry as best he can. Nisbet connects with the Dark Passage, and he's going to survive. Cobby has single-handedly destroyed G2. Kikis and Hybrid now want to close this out. It's a 3-for-3 as Nisbet is running for his life. G2 secure the Baron, only have available on 2 members, and that was a messy fight.
A messy fight with a good opening from G2. They see the enemy jungle base, they immediately start it, and then they use every defensive tool in the book correctly. The Tempered Fate into a double stun is exactly what you want if you're playing Bard. But then G2 kind of overcommit for the fight. Hybrid thinks he's winning so hard that he aggressively flashes over the wall and leaves his teammates to die. So let's watch this again. Baron start, good. This ultimate, fantastic. Knockback on the Lucian too. Look at this stun here from Hybrid. Beautiful. Kind of overstacking though. I think Perks should have ultied away towards Cobby and just relied on his support to double stun, because he drops immediately because he can't get around. And now G2 can disengage, but Emperor thinks he has more support, but the Hybrid's here in the bottom kind of loitering around. Let's just call it that.
Yeah, Hybrid and Kick is chasing the kill, leaving Emperor out to dry. It's shut down, and Cobby does great work. 2-1-3 on that Lucian at the end of the fight.
Emperor divided. Can't believe we actually haven't noticed this. This guy's actually called Emperor.
I know.
How did we miss this?
I don't know.
It's the war cheers.
Yep, I don't know. It's only because Azir's just become meta today.
Yep.
in Europe.
Today.
In Europe.
Even though he was played last week already.
Like,
I scream. Yes. That's it.
Wonderware gets pinned against the wall. No, he doesn't because of the riposte. Will lunge away. Flashes from the Tempered Fate. That is worthwhile.
Not today.
Emperor is looking to rejoin the team as he puts a blue ward inside the red buff of Splyce. And G2 continue to try siege up this game. They've got a marginal hold, 3,000 gold, and Baron buff on at least 2 members.
Yeah. We could see right there, Perks and Emperor weren't kiting. They were stepping forward into the aggressive moves from G2 here. And here in the EU LCS, we do interweave our analysis with some scenic vision here. That's a frog.
Oh no, don't
Rotation on
shoot,
the bot
man.
lane. Baron buff still present.
Kikis is going to be pushing in with a very big minion wave. G2 Esports will take a tower as the frog ends his time on the Rift. Only to become Gromp, I believe. A much angrier version. Much like...
It's actually... Hang on.
Yeah, we'll get back to that in a second. Inhibitor's dropping. 4 dragons secured. The hammer comes down from Kikis, knocking away Trashy. Cask is available, but the base is exposed. G2 have got a 5,000 gold lead at 33 minutes. And they're looking to take an inhibitor. Going to push this one down. The boomerang takes down Trashy before he can finish anything. Tempered Fate forces Splyce away, and G2 have taken a long time to do it, but they've broken Splyce's base open.
They've broken the base, the zone here from these soldiers put up. It's so hard for Splyce to step into it. That's why they need the flank. You can't come from the front door there. And to get back on the point, it's actually a Neuro Parasite that turns that little frog into a Gromp. It's actually very gruesome. Can't believe we're cheering that on. The little guy can't even control his movement anymore.
No, that Gromp is just a victim of his circumstances.
It's the wrong place, the wrong time. And like many of these wards, static, lifeless objects.
They do
waiting
not
to
deserve the
either
punishment.
time out and die, or be destroyed. Used for their vision.
Very morbid.
Maybe that's why people in bronze don't buy wards, because they're very caring.
Just very loving people.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then Riot enforces their will by giving them an automatic trinket, even when they leave the base right now. If you don't buy, you get an automatic yellow trinket. So Riot's like, get the wards. That's it. Feed your frenzy. Place those wards.
It helps. Wards win games.
They do.
Disappointed dad Deficio wants everyone to buy pink wards too.
Oh.
I know. We're trying to get next level. But
I wonder if in a patch in the future we'll give people automatic pink ward.
Ooh, I don't know.
Surprise pink wards. Hey guys, these things exist.
Yeah.
To remove vision.
Oh, look at the damage there. Senkux was forced away. Flashing red bars just from one combo from Perks. He's fully activated. Nearly Large Rod, Void Staff, Rylai's, and the Nash's Tooth. As G2 are now sieging in the top lane. There's no outer turrets left to take, and they've already done some work on the middle and the top inhibitor turrets. They've had some time to regen, but not a lot.
Wonderware split. We could see the use of Poppy here where you just ulti 1 or 2 guys of the team and then you just instantly go for the siege.
Zoning ultimate. It doesn't find anybody though, Crabbo.
Worked though. Half the tower's gone. Either you hit him and he backs off, or you don't hit him and he backs off anyways. Tower melts.
We need another wave. G2 are sticking around. Trashy's waiting in the wings. Teleport's available for Wonderware, so if a fight breaks out, he'll be a few seconds late. 3.5 to be exact. Bloodthirster is his 3rd item, so he's all about the damage.
Yeah, frontline Lucian here to survive. The goal is to kill Emperor and Perks as quick as they can, because if you leave Azir alive for just 5, 6, 7 seconds in the fight and you just eat all the damage, he will just literally 1v5. Technically 3v5, 45 if you count all the soldiers. Royalty goes wide, hook connects.
It does onto Trick. Body slam from Trashy. He split up G2, but the tower's already down. Perks is in trouble.
dead.
He's been killed by Cobby, and Trick will take down Senkux. It's a 1 for 2. Boomerang Blade goes out as Kick is just running amok on the back line. Wonderware flashes forward. He's got Trick. That's a double. Looking for more. Rides a magical journey. Kickers is killed by Cobby and Nisbet on the back line, and Wonderware runs down the squeaky toys. Hybrid's in trouble. Magical journey's out. Get the stun. Connect.
Yeah, you're not gonna catch him.
Gonna carry on running for his life. 2 for 4, and Splyce win.
Yeah, it looked really grim when Trashy went down initially, but so many cooldowns are used on the disengage. Senkux went just, yeah.
I think it's
Moses
happening.
divided everybody, just Valkyried in with the package, then Valkyried forward, and he dragged everybody away while Perks kinda just got killed in the side, and then Wonderware stepped into the fight. Late Fior, that's the ideal moment for Fior to step in. She doesn't want to be at the start of the fight. She wants to be when every cooldown is down, nobody can disengage, everybody just is ready to just get that sword pierced through their hearts. That's when Wonderway wants to step in.
Yeah, pierced through the hearts, and for Splyce, that's okay. They take down the inhibitor. Still down in gold, but Dragon is up. Baron is up in 10 seconds. Dragon's up in a minute and a half, and here's a replay of that fight.
So Trashy's gonna E-flash. Burks is gonna cleanse out and knock up and flash out. That makes it so that he gets knocked to the side. Now Cobb is gonna go aggro on him, but Burks doesn't get out in time. Now we had kind of a suicide mission almost from Senkux, but he managed to buy enough time for Wonderwave to come in. And once he gets the one proc, just keeps on killing people. Obviously didn't get his ulti off because that got Q assessed. So he needs to start putting that ulti on other people. Don't get a Q assist overall. Another Baron attempt here. That means G2 is stuck in there though. They can't kite, but it's going down quick.
The verdict, swing and knocks away. Trashy's gone. Baron is secured. The Tempered Fate has got Cobby. If Cobby's gone, this is trouble for Splyce. They've lost their duo lane. G2 have got Baron and 5 members versus 3.
And they take the portal. I mean, come on, this game is likely over, Trevor.
You know, let's find out if G2 can push it in. Crazier things have happened today, Crepo.
Yeah, unless if Wonderwave could actually have gotten that wave that's coming in the bot lane right now, maybe G2 still need members to win, or minions rather. Hyper's exhaust is coming up, that's what you need to look for. Kikis can stop any dashes, any body slam, any Fiora lunge forward can get stopped by Poppy W, and then Hybrid can exhaust.
So much damage. Perk's got 2 autos onto Wonderwave. He's gone full DPS. There's really not a lot of tankiness. G2 are pushing the minion wave in. Exhaust is available. Wonderwave's going to go down. Riposte blocks it for a few seconds. Trashy and Senkux are all that remain for Splyce. G2 Esports are onto the Nexus turrets, and in a dramatic finish, they hold sole position of first place in the European LCS. Gigantic smiles from Young Buck.
It's a new angle.
Looking up, looking forward, G2 Esports are guaranteed a semi-final seed. Are guaranteed to appear in Rotterdam.
And Hybrid didn't seem too happy when he's staring at the screen. Or maybe perplexed, like, I want a game on a champion that is not Braum.
How did that happen?
How did I get here? Honestly, 1-0-11 on that Braum.
Bard. Got you.
Thanks, mate. Overall, didn't die a single time and had probably one of the game-changing moments or game-winning moments with that Tempered Fate into a double stun twice. Really showing the power of that exquisite Bard pick. Obviously, Yamato, did not have the base to maybe make Splyce envision that win.
And it's tough for Splyce because not only were they in the battle for 7th, Elements won earlier today, meaning Splyce are currently in the 8th seed. Looking like they are going to the promotion tournament. There was a very real possibility that Splyce and Elements could have had a tiebreaker for that seed to avoid promos, to make it to Summer Split. And now they need to hope that they can pull off an upset win tomorrow. Gigantic smiles there from Perks.
Yeah.
He had a few team fights where he got the wall down and then he was dropped very, very quickly.
It's actually very fun to talk to Perks when he does these sometimes misplays or questionable moves or the banter he pulls out with some of the mid laners. Sadly, none of that is repeatable for broadcast.
Follow these guys on Twitter. He's
a very fun personality, despite it being so young. So I'm actually really happy with the way Perks has developed, both as a brand and as a player in the EU LCS.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope to see more of him. Unfortunately, Crep, I have to cut you off because
I'm used to it.
The analyst desk will take a closer look at G2's win.
Thank you. I'm also very proud of how Crepo has progressed as a brand and as a personality within the EU. No? Okay. Anyways.
Tie was a little bit tilted.
Tilted tie. All right, guys. It was going to be a theme of the day. Obviously, the lower seeds taking down the higher seed. And Splyce, they put up a fantastic fight for Given. What do you think happened in that game that pushed G2?
Well, I didn't get to show all the game, but the early game was a bit stalemate. Some lane swap mistakes from both teams, I think. And then I noticed that Fiora was getting an insane advantage over Poppy. He played the advantage correctly when Splyce had some really questionable positions or like they didn't understood their limits properly. Like I don't have any clear conclusion about it, but I think it was a back and forth game. Kobe clutched a lot of situations, in my opinion, and I was talking to the fish about how Kobe for me is like the rookie that is upcoming. So
It's a new Forgiven.
I don't know about it, but I think he has potential to be a really good player, quality player at least. So
Well,
we'll find out.
We were talking about that quite a bit during the game, back and forth. And, I made the comment to you during the game that I've seen 8 weeks from Kobe plus his challenger, and he hasn't stood out to me. I think, honestly, this is the first game that Kobe has actually looked to the level that you're talking about there, that he actually looks pretty good. I've found he's been quite a quiet player overall the last 8 weeks. So I'm glad to see some progression there.
Definitely. Defisho, you want to take a closer look at some of the Baron dances?
I mean, this game was all about Baron. When we got to mid to late game, both teams were trying to bait out Baron multiple times. This is G2 baiting the Baron, and it's because we had a situation where Splyce were always a little bit late to the party, and then when you have a severe ulti, you just pop it and your entire team just pile on to the first target. And what I really like what we talked about as well on the desk during the game, is how they now go back to Baron, because they want to bait it one more time after this play is over, by the way. And then look at Perks here. This is what makes a playmaker. He's outside of your screen right now, but pan down the camera. I'm using my mind here to pan the camera down to Perks.
Yeah.
Look at the trap he's setting. This is beautiful. And Copy
Yeah, that's unlucky.
goes down like Forgiven did earlier today.
He had no summoners, otherwise he would have
Fair
dodged,
enough.
I
Fair.
think.
What do you think about that play?
I think it was good. Like Perks played his role as an assassin in the Baron pit, and even if he dies, the rest are gonna clear for him. And I don't think he could have stayed at Baron. I mean, it's a decision that is happening based on like scrims, for example, like what role everyone has and what you have to do in order to win a team fight or to set it up better for others. I think it was a pretty good move, and ultimately it gave G2 the Baron, I think. So.
Yeah, it did. Again, another topic we were talking about during the game was Azir and Perks Azir from Challenger. We have seen so many good games, and I was waiting for Azir to become meta. Forgiven, you were talking about Azir as a champion later in the game, blocking pathways, that kind of thing. What's your thoughts on Azir? Because we've seen him a lot today.
Rio as well.
I think like from every champion I have experienced in the game, at least until this very moment, I think Azir is like one of the most obnoxious things that ever went out. I mean, it's insane. And even if you're not an AD carry, like it works like an Orianna, but you have 10,000 damage more, and you don't need to rely on your ulti only to do something. Like it works like an AD AP carry. So I don't understand this. Like
More or less obnoxious than Tom Kench?
I mean, okay.
Or Rammus.
Rams, okay. I
Yeah, okay.
deleted something. Sorry.
All right, no problem. Let's take a look at the next team fight, because this was the moment where we thought opposite day is actually a thing, because Splyce actually do really well in this one.
It's another Baron, by the way, which again is the theme of this late game here. Even though Wonderway is winning the split push,
Baron theme of a late game in a League of Legends game?
I mean, there were more Baron calls here than normal. Because they
Okay.
kept baiting Baron and then they forced fight with it. And it's the same thing G2 is doing again, but it's also where Trashy just recalled, if you look at your minimap now, late game, and it's where the shotgun becomes very difficult because a lot of mixed calls. And we can just roll the clip, and we just get to see G2 take the Baron as fast as possible. And now, Forgiven, you like Copy here. What do you think about his position once he actually re-enters the fight?
Well, they managed to pick Azir, like the others are getting picked, and one guy from G2 gets to the tunnel, so he leaves Emperor alone, and Kobe is like in this position that it's either me or him, and so he just commits instead of backing, like a good player, a bad player would do. And he actually makes a difference, because he recognizes a mistake from the other team, and he capitalizes even if he dies. So I think it was a pretty clutch move from Kobe in this situation.
And I think a mistake from Kick is there, taking the magical journey. Then you suddenly leave your carries alive, you leave them behind. So they're no longer alive because Copy here took care of them.
Yeah, what's your impressions of Emperor? Of course, he's been a big part of that G2 stronghold.
I think individually he's a really strong player. I could legit say that he's like top 3 or like top 2 as a player, but he tends to do a mistake that a lot of people do that play the carry, that like he doesn't recognize his limits or he's not aware of his surroundings in a team fight, because yes, it's like a PvP game, of course, but there is also the environment that you have to calculate or like be aware of. And Emperor sometimes gives deaths that he shouldn't, but he actually, the other good thing about him is that he will win games for you when you rely on him. Like, he will try, and most likely he will win. He's a gifted player mechanically.
Well, we're talking about AD carries and AD carry style before we move on to a bigger picture. I want to get an answer from you, Forgiven. You seem to be the only AD carry in Europe that isn't looking to buy Cull at any possible opportunity early game. Maybe you could give us a little bit of reasoning behind that?
I mean, okay, I don't buy Swiftness boots too, but
Two things.
I think cool or color, whatever people call it, is fine, but in my opinion, it slows you down early, even if it gives you like 180 gold bonus. I mean, this gold is not gonna give you any advantage, to be honest. That's my opinion as a player that plays the game for long. But I have been wrong in the past. I mean, as a player, yes, I can think stuff, but for example, I had this issue with Kalista or other champions I was getting criticized for. So you can actually either agree or like just not take away. But I don't think it makes a difference as an item.
Personal choice, basically. But it also depends on the gold you have when you back. If you have 450
Exactly.
gold on the first back, it is very likely you buy it. If you have like 900, you get a pickaxe instead, as an example.
Yeah. What made you play Kalista actually? Now?
I mean, I want to stop this trend of us banning Kalista on blue side. I mean, we banned it today, but it was more of a draft choice, pretty much. But I know right now that I can actually get this pick out as the main pick. I don't know if I will get to play it in regular season or playoffs, but when I pick something that I like to play, and Kalista is not one of them, but it is so powerful that I will be inevitably good on it.
Yeah.
That's how I would put it. So I give my team a banless, which we can put different. With champion is famous for laning. I have Vander, who is a really good support, so I think we can take advantage of the whatever.
The severe effect.
Yeah,
Basically. Or you could play Jhin, who would also win lane.
yeah, maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future. All right, let's take a look at the standings because it was all kind of crazy here with 1 day left in the spring split. Okay, let's take a look. So, G2 right now undisputed #1. Of course, H2K Vitality, well at 2 and 3. Then the battle for OG UOL Fnatic for 4, 5, and 6 is on, and Elements is locked in 7th. However, and that's just about the only thing that is clear now.
And tomorrow, Fnatic will play Origin. So if they win that game, we should have a tiebreaker between those two teams. Unless there is a head-to-head I'm not aware of.
So if Fnatic beat OG tomorrow, and the UOL then lose to G2, there will be a 3-way tie for 4th. If OG beat Fnatic, OG gets 4th.
Okay.
And Fnatic is out of the running, is 6th because of the head-to-head with the Unicorns of Love.
And that means you play proper Vitality.
Yeah, and I have a bit of news to share. Tomorrow, the starting mid laner for Origin versus Fnatic will be FLICKR and not Power of Evil.
What a surprise.
Discuss. Not a surprise to you? Why not?
I mean, Power of Evil is a really good player, but he pretty much made it known, or like he just told early to some people in the pro scene that if I don't get to play that good, I guess FLICKR will come in for playoffs. I mean, I don't understand how Origin don't work. Like, they have really good players, like SOAS, like pretty much everyone on this team is individually good. Yes, they are maybe underperforming or they don't have some communication problem, but we all know from history that like playoffs is way different than regular season. So I guess we'll find out if FLICKR makes a difference.
So there's a lot of different things here at play, of course. First off, you mentioned Power of Evil. What do you think for a young player like that who was the shining star on Unicorns of Love and now in this lineup? What's the mental effect of this happening now for him?
I mean, it depends on the player. For him, it has to be, in my opinion, a challenge, because when a veteran comes and takes your place, it means something goes wrong. And you have to understand if it is your fault or if it's others, or you just don't mix with your team properly. I mean, this will happen. It's 5 people. It can be from different cultures, different gameplay, different everything. So it will happen eventually. But I remember a PoE from UL. Like on Origin, he's not the player that was in UL, but a talent should not go wasted, in my opinion. So I hope the best for him. He's good.
Yep.
And the worst thing is, it's very hard for us to judge. Is it the other Origin members who's not maybe allowing him to be part of a team for whatever reason? Do they not adapt to the way he likes to play or the champions he likes to play? It's so tough always looking just from the outside when a player doesn't fit 100%. A little bit the same with like Gambit last year with you guys. It was like Cabo Shot and forgive me, like this lineup is stacked, you know, and it just didn't work for you guys. You just guys didn't click.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in Origin to know their problems. I mean, as I said before, they're good individual players. I know they tend to play a lot around their bot lane. Fact or justified or not, it's up for discussion. In this meta, I don't think it's that good to play around bot lane, but Nielsen and Myth are good players. So it's preference. And in Gambit, I mean, it was... I mean, we were all individually good. It was like pretty much what you said,
Yeah.
but I think it was more of mismanagement, I would put it, or like pretty much this way. Like I don't want to talk bad about
Sure.
everyone, but I think the power we had as players couldn't transition into LCS states, which was pretty sad because, as you see, every Gambit player
He's doing well.
is actually doing well in every single team they are on. So.
Yeah. One last little bit about Origin, at least from my perspective on what we heard last week. Amazing talked about Xpeggy's influence on what he brought as a veteran player, holding the team together and how he was controlling things a little bit more in the late game. I mean, the one thing you can say for an important game like against Fnatic, to lock yourself potentially in 4th spot, to have that calming influence in the late game is probably very beneficial to a team like Origin, who are still 50-50 on who turns up.
I just don't think it's long-term the solution for Origin, because Xpeg has stepped down because he had so many things he needed to do with Origin as an organization. He's the owner of this organization. We've seen it before, you know, way back with Team Solomid and Reginald playing and so on. You had to kind of adapt and force a new mid laner in a sense. Maybe they're just doing it now because they want to make sure they get number 4, get into playoffs. But then what happens in playoffs? Is it Pekka playing again? What happens in coming to Summer Split? Do we have the same issue?
Yep. I think it makes for a very interesting mechanic because I mean, they do have, if it works out and it isn't too much of a mental strain on power, they do have that card now, that special thing that none of the other teams have.
Which didn't really work.
No.
Because when they played the card,
That's true.
they felt like they had to do something different. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
We will see tomorrow what happens, actually,
Of course.
what that was like. However, a lot of upsets today as well. Let's touch on the UOL versus H2K game once again there, sadly, because I want to highlight Steelback, actually, as a player. Obviously, we have the big story of him playing in Fnatic, and now in the UOL, he just seems to shine more. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, he was forced to be out of LCS in a way because Fnatic chose to get Reckless back, and he had no other options in Europe, so he went to NA. I think he has improved. I won't say that he is the best for various reasons. I mean, yes, today, for example, he outperformed me in a way. Props to that guy. I think he needs to do that in a way so he can actually make himself a contender for like to be the best AD carry in Europe or his region or in general, wherever he competes. But I think it was a game that we lost and UL didn't win. But, so.
Yeah, you touched on that beforehand. What is the main thing for you that went wrong? You mentioned the pattern from pre-IM.
I mean, our team tends to struggle hard in crucial matches. Like we have lost against G2, we have lost against Vitality, we have lost against Ever, we have lost against UL now. And it's a worrying trend in a way because as a player, I got to play in many teams, good or bad, which like one of them was SK. And SK was a dominant team and we lost crucial matches or crucial best of 5s. So I don't want to see this trend happening again, but on the other hand, I can do whatever individually, but it's a team effort. So.
Are you doubting yourself in that scenario? Or?
No, obviously. Like I obviously have, even if the meta is not around AD carry or whatever you say about it, I still have a belief that individually, as long as I have a brain and fingers to play the game, I will always be the best player in my position because I commit so hard to League, and even though I said that I like the competition that it brings a lot. And for me, it's way better to play against the AD carries that are now in comparison to the past. Like I talked a bit about it with the fish. So
Yeah,
you
go
can
ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a super good point because we were just looking at like the 10 AD carries we have in the LCS and some of the AD carries last year who weren't good enough, like Varax and Adri and Jeebus, who were here earlier in the split. You know, they've all been removed now, and picking the worst AD carry is fairly difficult because you're kind of looking at someone like Sunstar, but he's only been here for like 3 games. It's kind of unfair to just point it at him straight away. And then you have a very good group of people who are all very, very good AD carries. They might not be the best, but like Mr. Rales and Koppe, these guys are very, very strong players, just not as strong as we would call the top 3, top 4 AD carries. So you have a very good pool of players if you just look at the AD carry position right now.
Yeah, I think the thing that you guys brought up was that the pool of even the lower players now are better than the pool of AD carries 2 years ago, so to say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever sees like the players that were playing in the past and how the game was in the past, and now it's a completely different game. Yes, it still has some sort of individuality, but every single time I read patch notes or seasons I play, this gets less and less. So it's more about team effort, communication, have a plan, have someone that can actually be the sixth guy that will tell you objectively what you did wrong and what you did not. So sucks for me, but but it's good. I think it's way better because inevitably the players that are in Europe will have way better practice going to Worlds or to MSI or to wherever they have to compete. So they will be more ready, in my opinion.
They will be. Sorry, I was going to say, you touched on coaches briefly there, or the sixth man. How, for you as an individual player, has been working with Prolly? It's not something we've had too much of an opportunity to ask you about.
I mean, I was starting in the past. I never had a coach. I mean, in every single team that I played, I had like a manager or like someone that is day-to-day experiences and stuff. I mean, I respect Prolly in the sense that like he has played in LCS a couple of years. Like he has a legit opinion about the game. I like his personality. Like we have arguments, for example, or I have arguments with some people in the team, or maybe not. But that's up to grabs on what's going on the situation, what is being presented to us. But I value his input a lot. I think we can all improve in general. So does he. I mean, he's probably the best coach I ever had. But on the other hand, I think it's more safe to say that in the future in a way. Like,
Sure.
I would like to see how I evolve or he evolves or whoever benefits.
Well, you bring up the best coach you ever had. Of course, Sean's is coaching Vitality. And today, they didn't have the best day, but however, they're still at the top of the table because of your loss. It kind of all aligned for them. They had that loss versus Rocket. What do you think of them?
I think in the end, in a way, we're all human beings, so we will do mistakes. We are designed to do that in a way by our nature. So Sounds had, in my opinion, a not so good draft. But when I had him in Gambit, he knew the game, not to the same extent as Prolly. He's an experienced player, again, not to the same extent, but I appreciated the effort he put for me and for others too, but in the end, I tend to disagree a lot with him about how Gambit could work way better, in my opinion, for example. So, sucks that it didn't work out, but it will happen.
I do think, though, if we look at just Vitality this year, them losing to Rocket is obviously a surprise for everyone. He was a big upset coming in, but we've seen multiple of those today. Normally, the pick and ban phase Vitality does bring is, I like it. Sometimes there are question marks, but there are oftentimes a reason behind it, like the Nasus pick, there was a good reason behind it. This draft, however, against Rocket today was so focused on snowballing early and just playing that 1-3-1 that once they got into teamfights against Rocket, they couldn't really do a whole lot because, like, compare some of the picks. Elise into Gragas, nope, that's a lost team fight. Thresh into Alistar, that's a lost team fight.
It's a pattern, though. We saw the Nasus comp, and they team fought instead of split push.
Well, that was because...
Okay.
So that was
Is it a pattern?
That was a mistake by the team in-game.
Yeah.
Also getting picked off, so they felt like they were forced to go in and start team fighting instead of playing that 1-4 split push they were supposed to with the fast push of Nasus. So there are definitely mistakes, 100%, but as Forgiven is saying, every team will still make mistakes. It's just now you need to basically get rid of those few mistakes you do have the next 2 weeks, because then playoffs are here. And yes, it's a BU5, but if you start losing 1 or 2 games to mistakes like this, you might be out.
I think, though, talking about best of fives, Vitality are one of the only teams that have shown us wide flexibility, right? Is like a lot of the top teams have been showing us different picks in certain roles, but as for completely different play styles or team composition styles, we've seen the Bardzillion, we've seen the Nasus, we've seen these kind of comps which are a little bit more what we expect from Vitality. There's a little bit more flexibility, but it's not always working. So I'm interested to see if they can flex that in a best of 5 and
Sure.
how that would play into things.
Yeah, definitely. Forgiven, G2, H2K, Vitality, you've mentioned some of the issues that you think you're struggling with. What is one of the things that Vitality or G2 does, or maybe some other team in the league, that you wish you could incorporate or that they are really good at?
I think they're really good individually, all of them, and this means that whoever gets the responsibility to carry a game, either by provided resources or either by a plan before the game, he will most likely do it. And they have a coach who is good enough to give them direction to the game. They're all smart and good, because I got to play against them or with them a lot of times in the past, now in the future, obviously. So I think what Vitality has to fix, in my opinion, could be their instability in a way, or they're not consistent. Yeah, and it's not about consistency in the game. It's about their inconsistency in banned drafts, in picks and bans, but I don't think it's Son's fault actually. It's maybe more of the players forcing a plan. In my opinion,
Yeah.
my humble opinion.
I mean, it can also be Vitality who are just testing different things coming into place, because they probably came into this week and saying, okay, H2K and G2, they're going to win their games. So we'll be locked into third. You know, we'll play quarterfinal. Maybe you're testing different kind of compositions and seeing how it works out for you.
But H2K wins or loses that game before you, though.
Hey, I'm just saying, like, the game plan may be coming into it, but no matter what, almost no matter what draft was here, Vitality would be the favorites. They just didn't manage to capitalize at all on the ultimate game. So I think they're still testing different things. And then for playoffs, we might see a more consistent pick and ban phase.
And they played the late game a little bit riskier perhaps than they should have. I mean, that play from Airwax right at the end to hold the game for Rocket was the same kind of play we saw last week that Vitality lost to when Hjanan got caught by a Gragas on a flank. Same things cost Vitality 2 important games now. Credit to Rocket for making that play work, for Airwax just coming out of nowhere and blasting them back. But
it's a trend with the Gragas, man. It's sneaking around the bushes.
He's so big, though. Like.
Big bushes, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Time to move on to some tweets that you guys sent in. Earlier, we asked you which pro you thought would bring the most to their team in the postseason. And at Laura Charles tweeted, Reckless will be the most integral player for his team in the playoffs. If he steps up in calling and plays, his team goes off. But is that not the problem exactly? For given, obviously, the storyline that has developed here throughout the split was Reckless shot calling. Yes, no. Transitioning to more people shot calling. What are your visions on that?
I think he was just the least worst guy to take the responsibility of shot calling. I don't think an AD carry shot calling is an ideal thing to exist, at least in Europe. Like except like Hjanan maybe. I don't know any other player in Europe all these years that I'm pro player that actually is a part of shot calling in a team. And we have seen time and time that if you actually manage to do good shot calling, it will take away power from your own play. And it depends, what do you want? Because in a Fnatic, struggling in the early in the season, Reckless, I guess, could have made a difference more if he didn't have the responsibility of shot calling. I mean, he's a good individual player too, maybe not one of the top of the top, but he still is a player that has played in Worlds, he has won the splits, he did a lot of things, so, don't know.
So your role in H2K in terms of communication, from what you were saying, you're actually not expected to really provide a whole lot in information on shot calling? Like, you're expected to focus on your own individual performance?
I mean, it's a mixture. I guess I still give information when I think I have to, if we didn't practice it in scrims or if we don't know it's a pattern or whatever. But I think information in general is really integral. I think the word's correct. Integral part of the game at the moment, way more than it was in the past. And I think every player should be balanced in this. Like, you shouldn't be a player that plays for 40 minutes and you don't open your mouth once.
No, that'd be bad. You gotta call out team.
Where are you? Were you leaving me? All right. Our next tweet is from @LAT Road. Sven lol by far. Yeah, we got it in. I feel that when Sven is performing, Origin is performing as well. If not, Origin crash and burn. Of course, a lot comes down to also resource allocation, as you hinted to as well. It is very obvious that the resource allocation for OG goes down down bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the stats, the post of Crepo about Origin giving 12 or 11 creeps per second, per minute into Origin, and that guy getting 20k gold per game, and everyone else getting 10 or 12. But on the other hand, somehow you have to win. And how are you gonna do this? Who is the most reliable and available player to do that in Origin, from the start of a split to now? I think the answer is pretty obvious.
Do you think that that's why? In the couple of weeks in the split, we noticed that Sven sometimes was being more aggressive and caught out than he had actually ever been for as long as we've seen him playing. Do you think that's also the pressure and wanting to make those plays and having not the team back him up as much as they did last split?
I mean, every player is gonna do mistakes.
Yeah.
For example, today I did a mistake and I gave one death that I could have dodged if I bailed off my team. But sometimes you can't do something about it. And I think that Nils has a lot of pressure on his shoulders on the current form of his team. And I don't think it's also ideal for an AD carry to play 1 year like this, or even like a split. I think it's really unhealthy in terms of mindset. It's only you and nobody else. I mean, I don't know. It's up to discussion about what everyone thinks, but my opinion is this. So.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Finally, maybe Tomorrow, OG versus Fnatic then, because we're talking about Sven, because we're talking about Reckless, because we know that Expect is playing. Predictions, guys, for 4th place. Who wants to go first?
I'm going to go first. I'm actually going to say Origin. Like, I feel like Peke didn't do a bad job while he was playing. He did a fine job, and I think his influence later in the game seems to have some sort of an effect on Origin. The games that they won with him weren't pretty, and they probably should have lost both of them, but maybe it'll just be enough.
Coming into the week, I would say Fnatic 100%. It's no longer 100%, but I'm still on the Fnatic. Very, very small and slow-moving hype train. I think the pick and ban phase will change a lot for tomorrow. I think it will go back to more of the picks that worked at IEM. I don't want to see Soraka. I think against, the options of 1-3-1ing Soraka is just so weak, and Clyde didn't really have an impact on it at all. So I expect him to go back to IEM pick and ban phase, and then I think they are still the stronger team and they will win.
Forgiven.
I think Origin. I don't see how a Fnatic can actually do something against Origin. Yes, sure, they can drag the game for the first 20, 30 minutes or something, but at some point, I think Origin will prevail. If it's a Baron throw or whatever, win is a win. And seeding is up for grabs, so that's my opinion.
All right.
Yeah, there is a lot up for grabs. I'm just double-checking my notes very
We'll
quickly.
have the matches in a second.
Yeah, no,
as well.
it's not the matches. I just wanted to double-check whether we've seen Trundle out of SOAS, because I think if we have, that is such a good pick to shut down Fnatic. As I'm flicking through like 10 pages to double-check.
I have it in my head, so can someone buzz me and confirm, because...
I mean, I know we've seen it from him before.
Yeah, before.
We
but
haven't
not
seen it this
specifically.
split.
But the thing about Trundle is, I can play Trundle.
Right, well...
So SOAS can
hopefully,
definitely play Trundle.
Right,
Does he
up in
want
the
to,
top
is the question.
But
Well,
I
if
mean,
you are against full tank top laners like Gamsu is...
And Elements today just went, okay, second rotation Trundle, good luck Gamsu. What have you got?
Worst case, it's a ban coming into it. I know it's not a great ban, but you might have to.
He hasn't played it yet.
Yeah.
Some birdie.
Last year,
Last year,
somewhere.
obviously he has, but yeah, it's been around for a long time. Anyway, we still have to crown our Fantasy MVP, and in the final days of the Spring 2016 Fantasy LCS, Steelback is hoping to give you the last-minute surge you need. 9 kills, 6 assists you haven't, without dying once, for a total of 33 fantasy points. I'm sorry to bring it up for Given, yeah, but he was good.
Yeah,
Game
he
for
was
him.
good. He is on my team down in the Caster League. It's me versus Spellsy for the #1 spot. Hopefully he's going to win it. Spellsy has like 3 Immortals players though, so I'm not confident.
Yeah, no. All right. There he goes. Okay, and the European LCS Spring Split round robin continues tomorrow, when we'll start the day with H2K versus Elements. You guys are up first, and G2 versus UOL. Very, very important game for possibly that first place, and Origin and Fnatic. H2K versus Elements, obviously, with the odds how they have gone. Elements, that's our match of the week. Also, Origin versus Fnatic. We've discussed it a lot. After the setback of today, how good can you guys come into that matchup versus Elements?
I think it's up to its player's personality and what review we're gonna do later in the day. I know for sure that today I got really agitated on how we lost the game, because, as I said, it's something that we did a mistake, and then we continuously did a mistake, and then we did a mistake again. And I think in top level League of Legends, you shouldn't be allowed to do that even against teams like UOL, sorry to UOL, but like they're not G2, for example. They're not like, I don't know, like in North America, who is first? I don't remember, I'm sorry. Immortals. I mean, they're not Immortals, but they're still a good team, but not to that extent, And if you want to do something in playoffs, then this thing is, in my opinion, shouldn't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to people, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the right mindset as well. Definitely.
It's a must-win game, of course, especially because it's one of the bottom 4 teams. You have to be able to take them out easily, almost. So, not easy. That's a bit harsh, because Elements are playing better, but HK will be the big favorites, and they have to be able to win this game. Otherwise, if you drop out of the top 2 now, it's on you. I mean, you came into this week big favorites, and you had 2 pretty easy games.
Yep.
And Elements are a good team too. Mm-hmm. I mean, one could make arguments about the solo lanes, for example, but if I look, for example, personally at the remaining players, Promiscure is like an upcoming support talent. Like, he's a good mechanical player. Rales always has been all around Europe LCS. Like, always a really stable player, will never do mistakes, will never win you the game either, most of the times, but still he is not a guy that is going to lose it for you, like randomly positioning or teleporting at 60 minutes in mid lane, Julius is like number 2 in Europe West ladder after me. But
Steve's been doing good.
I mean, I can't say for sure for the solo laners, but I know the rest of their team is pretty good, and if they can have a healthy mindset in the future, they can be greater than they are right now.
And they're playing without worries because they have that 7th spot. They're safe.
I don't know whether I fully buy into that. I think if you look at their matchups this week, they go, okay, let's just plan for Fnatic. It's more likely that that is the one that we can exploit. So maybe they planned a lot for that. We'll see how they play loose tomorrow.
We will see what happens. We almost have to go. I do want to ask you one more thing, Forgiven.
Sure.
You always have those retweets that are super topical, and sometimes it's from 3 years ago. How do you do it?
I mean, I just join a profile on of a pro player, and I see if he has like 500 tweets, and I just scroll for like 10 years until I go to bottom. Like, I would like to do it to the Physio, but he has like 5,000 tweets.
8,000.
So CBA.
8,000. That's how I make sure you don't do it to me. I just spam tweets.
That's almost as much as you say on air when you're given the chance, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's very Forgiven. It's very, very entertaining. I'd also like to thank you for being on the desk. Some very good info. I hope you enjoyed it.
I mean, I had fun. I never did it in the past. Maybe in the future, if I'm available, I would like to do that again.
Let our people call your people, and we'll see.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
No, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow. And in
Same.
playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Same.
I mean, I hope we do good for the sake of everyone. I don't know that. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. We need to go on cooldown. We'll be back tomorrow. I'd like to, Forgiven, extend thank you and so much. And thank you to Stress and the Fisho also, and to everyone here. We'll see you guys right back here tomorrow for the exciting conclusion of the 2016 EU LCS Spring Split. Bye.
Bros before hoes, well,
Amazing doesn't have anything to keep him in place, but Jin does, and Power V will win from the mid lane. He arrives, Income with the piercing arrow. 22 minutes into this game, and Origin run all over Giants. Gilias, now Reckless joined the fight. Thevin from the mid lane. Culling will live up to its name and pick up that kill.
Kill Puppy, I ult him, kill Puppy. I W him, kill Puppy. Nice, guys, good job. Kill us here, we need to kill us here. Okay, don't go to this. It is. Good job.
I can go. We fight.
Elements moving on to the Nexus, and this will be the upset against Fnatic, taking it as it comes down to the wire. There's the jump in by Jankos, looking to go huge here, but he can only go so far. That's the first kill, but straight up, Chain CC, triple kill, Alpha, steal back. Unicorns of Love, he'll take him down, they'll take down the Nexus itself, and Unicorns of Love with the upset over H2K.
And it's all left to Airwax and Noxiac, the tanks with very little damage. Betsy tries to be the hero, but Kasing's the only one that's low. Hyonin gets himself a double kill, and Vitality, Ace Rocket trades his life for Noxiax. Curtain call, shot ones, two, wide, the third connects, and Shook is assassinated! Rocket finally start losing members. Airwax, Noxiac fall quickly. The Nexus is going down, and for the second time this split, Rocket destroy Vitality.
Is looking for a good Churima shuffle.
The slide and glide and delivers Kobe into the waiting hands of G2. G2 Esports are onto the Nexus turrets, and in a dramatic finish, they hold sole position of first place in the European LCS.